Hey, my magical friends. Welcome to another Witchful Ways podcast episode. I am Annika, offering you insight, guidance, tools to live a magical life every single day. Today, let's talk a little bit about divination because it's one of my favorite things to do, and I can talk about it for days, but I won't talk about it for days. I try and keep these podcast episodes 10 to 15 minutes. So everybody knows, or if you've been at least following me for a while, you know that my main jams are opening up your intuition, connecting with spirit and or spirit guides, and manifesting with flow and ease. And then, of course, candle magic. So when we talk about divination, and divination works in with all of that, right? Like when you're manifesting for yourself, you are that, it's a circle. Like you're using all of those things continuously. You don't have one without the other. You can't manifest without intuition, right? You're not going to connect without your intuition. You're going to be able to connect with your spirit guides through your intuition, and they're going to help you manifest what it is that you need to manifest, right? Like it all goes in together. So when I talk about divination, I love divination, but let's talk about what it is first. I think the majority of us understand what divination is, and it's simply using divining, which is an act of doing something, right? Divining to be able to get information, insight, guidance, and or answers from the other side, and the other side being spirit realm, astral realm, right? So what we do is we either use our own intuitive abilities, which you should be using, or we use tools to help us to be able to connect and open the intuitive channels up. So I always strive, I always invite people and urge people to be able to develop your own intuition, right? Like that's what all of my courses, that's what my membership is about. It's about opening up that intuition, understanding how you receive your information. How do you feel the energy of the information that's coming through? Because we all do it differently. So being able to learn that, right? And then being able to apply that to connect with your spirit team and spirit guides. I'm going to call it spirit team. To be able to connect with your spirit team. When you have that ability and you stay in ease and flow, then you are able to simply insert what it is that you want to manifest. And you have not only yourself on this side working on it for you, but you have an entire spirit team behind you working the universal energy flow so that they can put the dominoes in place, right? So one thing happens for the next to happen until finally you achieve and or receive what it is that you have been manifesting. It's how it works. Simple. The hard part is understanding that opening up your intuition and being able to understand what your guides are saying to you is the critical part. You have to be able to do that to stay in that ease and flow. That doesn't mean if you can't, you can never manifest something. That's not true. But if you want to do it in ease and flow, where you're not actively having to sit down and go, okay, I'm going to manifest today. I'm going to work on my manifesting, right? We just are. We are manifesting with every moment. Okay, so let's talk about divination. The availability of all of the different tools that we have now for divination are amazing. So when we have tools, I'm talking about having cards and dice and throwing bones and charms and pendulums and anything else that you can think of. You can divine with anything, right? You can divine with anything. Eggs in water, that's a form of divination. That's the tool that you're using, a water put into or an egg put into water, right? Candle wax poured into water. You can use that to divine. There are so many different tools. But I want to talk about, one, the importance of being able to not rely on tools, because that is the best form. Because then, like I said, you are just simply living in your every moment, and in your every moment of living, you are divining You're getting your information and or guidance directly from your spirit team, which is plugging into your efforts in what you're doing in the physical aspect, in the physical realm, to manifest what it is that you desire. So being in that state is moving past the tools, but the tools make it fun. The tools make it fun, right? It's like to bring down the Ouija board or to pull out the spirit dice or, whatever it is, it's fun. And the other aspect of it is if you are a professional reader, sometimes your sitter, which is the person that is sitting there getting the reading, sometimes the sitter actually feels more confident about you when you are using tools or the information when you are using tools for whatever reason that is, right? Could be completely false that you don't need the tools at all. But for them to see you pull out your cards or for them to see the pendulum move or whatever it is, and you interpreting that in front of their eyeballs, and they're like, yes, even though you can do it without. So either way is great. Using the tools are amazing to be able to learn how it is that you receive your information. So, of course, again, if you're not in the inner circle, make sure that you head over to witchfulways.com and look at the inner circle membership. It has all of the courses that are available that you will ever need to be able to open up your intuition, to connect to your spirit guide, and to be able to manifest with ease and flow. And of course, I throw in that candle magic, right? Because that's one of my faves. But so head over there. You can get them individually or whatever. But learn how you connect, how you receive your information. Learn how you can actually sit down and understand what it is that your spirit team is telling you because you have established that universal language, right? Your universal language. Because you don't want to be talking English and spirit team talking French and you can't understand each other. Frustrating. Frustrating, right? So again, you can go into my Facebook group, a free Facebook group. You can get in there. There's all kinds of information in there as well about universal languages, how to figure out your universal language or how to assign your universal language. Okay, so the tools are fun. So let's talk about some of the tools. The one that I think a lot of us know right off the bat is cards, right? Tarot cards, oracle cards, angel cards, Lemron cards, gypsy cards, regular playing deck cards, which are also gypsy cards. All of those different, whatever the cards are, ones that you've made, ones that your next door neighbor 5-year-old drew for you, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. They're a tool, right? So you can use cards, tarot cards, made in a specific way, to be learned in a specific way, and read in a specific way so that there's a method to it. I personally take a more intuitive approach to my readings. Although I understand and know what the tarot cards are supposed to mean, I always let my intuition override what the card says to me during that reading. Same thing with oracle cards. They're all going to come with their little booklets, but understand that those meanings to those cards were put in place by the person that created the card because that is what the bird meant to that person on that card, right? For example, very illustrative cards in oracle will lead to a lot more intuition in the reading itself, because you're able to, again, lean back on your universal language. So you can understand, boom, I put this card down, and in this reading, in this spot, in this moment, this is what that card means. I know that because this is what I saw first, and that is what that means to me. That bird on there means freedom, right? Or whatever. Okay, cards. You can use boards, right? Spirit talking boards, Ouija boards, those are very polarizing. Some people will say, stay away from it at all costs. Other people will say, I use it by myself daily and have no issue. Keeping in mind that there is no one right way. There's not a right way. There's not a wrong way. There's only one person's way that is right for them. Always, 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 you do you witchy poo. Right? So Ouija boards tend to be very polarizing for whatever reason. Love or hate relationships. So I want to talk to you again, and there's all kinds of different, you can go onto Google and say, divination tools, and you'll get a list of them, or ask ChatGPT or whatever, but I want to talk about the ones that I use and why I recommend and use them. One is using spirit dice. I love spirit dice. Why do I love spirit dice? Because they are so informative in like real time. Well, it's all real time, but right in front of you instantaneously. And especially because spirit dice can use what I call text writing, right? Like BRB means be right back. So they can shorten and get a lot more information in one roll of the dice than you would be able to get in that amount of time, right? We're using a different modality. So if I'm out on a haunt or, I take them to a cemetery, they're really, really portable, right? I take them to a cemetery and throw dice there on somebody's gravestone or grave, usually not a gravestone, but grave. Then I have that immediate response. It takes moments and boom, done. So that's why I love spirit dice. And of course, I do have them in my Etsy shop because I love them so much. The ones that I have, there's all different, numbers of dice that are in there. The ones that I have right now are 18 dice because I've realized that gives me, over all of the years that I've been doing them, that gives me the most amount, the letters that I have on there, the amount of them and where they are to allow the most amount of combinations for actual words. Okay. Spirit dice, love them. The second one that I want to talk about, well, let's talk about three. Second one I want to talk about is witches' runes. I love witches' runes because it's 8 dice. The ones that I offer are 8, not dice. They are 8 symbols. And yes, you will know what those symbols are. The symbols mean, the 2 rings together mean relationship or marriage, right? It's a love stone or whatever you want to call it. So that is all you have to know is the 8 different symbols. Super easy. Throw them out like Yahtzee dice in front of you and read them from the furthest one back towards you. Love witches' runes. And of course, they come in all different kinds and all different numbers of runes as well. I've seen some that have like 12 and things like that. So the last one that I want to talk about, and again, these are not an all-inclusive list because there are so many, but the last one I want to talk about is scrying. Scrying is my number one way of divination. Why? Because scrying allows you to get into a mindless state. That's what meditation is for as well, right? Get you to a mindless state. What is a mindless state? It's when you're not really thinking about anything in particular, although you're still aware of your surroundings. So let's say in this example, I'm going to use that you're at the grocery store and you're going for the peas. You're on one side of the store, the peas are on the other side of the store. You know where the peas are. It's the last thing that you need. So there's no looking at your list or anything like that. All you're doing is strolling along with your cart, going for the peas. All of a sudden, the music that's playing in the store hits you and you're like, oh my gosh, I have heard this song like 4 times in the last 3 days. Or, oh my gosh, I haven't heard this song in forever. Either one of those can be messages for you. But the reason that you noticed them was because Spirit was allowed to draw your attention to it because you were in a mindless state, right? You weren't thinking about any one thing in particular. A lot of times this happens as well when people are hand washing dishes, right? Becomes a mindless action. That's when Spirit is able to pop in really easily because your ego's not there. right? So that type of feeling, that type of mindless state is what you get in scrying. What is scrying? Scrying is using any reflective surface to put your focus on, and then you will soften your gaze and just simply stare, almost like you're daydreaming right out the window, but you're going to stare in one reflective space until you receive information. Now, that information may come as something that you hear, something that you see, something that you feel, something that you interpret, something that you see out of the corner of your eye. No matter what it is, that's information coming to you because you're leaving yourself open in that aware yet mindless state. So and you can use any reflective surface. You can scry out a window. You can scry using a bowl of water. Use a dark bowl with just water in it. Scry on the surface of it, right? There are all different kinds of things that you can do. Fire scrying, smoke scrying, all of those things. My favorite is black mirror. I've had one black mirror since I was about 13 years old, and I love that thing. And that is why I also traditionally create, I handcraft or I witchcraft, get it, black mirrors and have those in my Etsy shop as well. Because I want to have the authentic, the traditional, the lineage way of creating them available to more people to be able to understand this amazing way to be able to connect with spirit and open themselves up so easily. We all know how to sit there and stare. It's one of the easiest ways to get people into that mindless state. If you're not good at meditating, don't worry about it. Get yourself a black mirror or create a black mirror or scry on something else and use that because you will find that you get yourself into that mindless state so much faster. But the thing is, once you get into that mindless state, so those are my favorites. Again, there's way more different divination tools out there, but those are the ones that I like. And those are the reasons why I like them. But the point is that once you use those tools to understand what it feels like to be sitting in the energy of your spirit guides or your spirit team, you will know that you can take that with you and carry that and keep that or step back into that at any time without need of the tool. So again, that means then that you simply live your daily life knowing that you have the ability to step into that energy feel, right? You know what it feels like to be able to connect with your guides to say, hey, I'm on my way to Walmart and I need a parking space within the first 3, right? Like make it happen. Manifesting just as you live and breathe. That is where the magic's at. And with that, thank you for joining me again for another podcast episode. Be sure that you head over to witchfulways.com so that you can check out that free resources page and get your hands on all the witchy goodness that's over there. Lots of guides and mini courses that are available to you free. And you can also check out all the other witchy offerings I have going on. Have a wonderfully magical rest of your day. Until next time.